Hello and welcome everybody. This is Sadhna again with you, and this is my channel, The Attitude of Gratitude. So we think so many times only this or this or this means the thoughts are having in our heads. It is basically like if I want to achieve something and after achieving, what is next? So we have to decode this statement, specialist, and she is a transformation specialist and a coach, which is life coach. Her name is Maher Rupa. Hey Maher, how are you?
Hi Sadhna, I'm really good. Thank you for inviting me to your channel.
Thank you for coming. So, Meher, I have said one statement before I started the podcast. So, do you have anything to talk about, even like a bit?
Yes, absolutely. So when you started the call, when you started speaking and you said that, can we achieve this much or can we achieve a little more or can we achieve much more or then even more, right? So normally in our day-to-day life, we function with all the resources that we have. We have certain capabilities, we have talents, we have our weaknesses, we have our challenges, and then we have this bulk of experiences from the past, which has shaped us over the years.
Right.
Now, through these experiences, we learn, sometimes we grow, and sometimes people crumble. Now, the challenge is that when people crumble, they do not see the opportunities that already exist in their lives. So they start thinking about everything that's wrong, and that can be a very, very limiting and a crippling part of their life. So what I do is I help them first identify what are the resources that they already have, what are the capabilities, what are the beautiful things about their talents, current situations that they already have. And then I look at what are the limitations, and then I transform these limitations using neuro-linguistic programming tools.
Okay.
So for those who do not know what neuro-linguistic programming is, it is a very, very unique technique to rewire your brain, right? We all have triggers, we all have anger, we all have certain emotions that run really deep. And sometimes we do not have control over them. A lot of people can master them consciously, but sometimes these patterns are very, very unconscious. They're very, very deep rooted into our subconscious. And how do you reframe that? By just allowing your neurology to reframe it internally without anyone giving you advice, without you having to do 10 steps a day. When you sleep, it's a natural process.
Yeah.
When we learned walking when we were young, we did not have to really recall remembering walking every day, right? Now, every day when you walk, you just walk. You don't say left foot first, right foot first, left foot first, right.
It is that the unconscious brain is working behind.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then as we walk, we also talk to our family members or the people around us. We speak on the mobile. We think 100 things about the day ahead. So simultaneously, there are so many processes that are happening, right? And at times, people are very, very fixated on the one thing that is not happening. And that can stop them from having focus in their life. It can stop them from doing what they're supposed to do. And this is where I come in. This is where I help them fix those and fix those fast and easy.
I would like to interrupt you here, guys. As if now, from where she started the conversation, I had noticed that you had used a word of crumbling, right?
Correct.
It means when you think your life is finished, right? If I'm not wrong, please correct me. When you think there are so many negative stuff in your life, or you're not able to achieve those things which are actually you thought of and maybe ended up on something else, and you're feeling really low in energy, right? This is what you said.
Yeah, so crumbling could be different for different people.
Right. So that is the exact time where she helps you to reframe your brain, to reframe your actually aura, because life is beyond what we think. Life is actually, for me, it is very beautiful. Every moment of life I want to enrich. But yes, sometimes the situations and the circumstances are like where we are not able to understand what is happening around us.
Exactly.
In that situation, she helps you. Meher, I would like to ask you first of all how you thought of this profession as your career?
Okay. So back in 2006, I started doing training for companies, for my own company, in fact. I started with communications, I started with, language, I started with motivation, and it was all good, but it was somebody else's thoughts, right? You go to Google, you go to a reference check, you go to a book, you get some quotes, and then you teach it out in the class, which was fine. But until I came across NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, in 2012. Now, when I entered that training program, I saw that this was not just a train the trainer program, right? I thought I'm going to get upskilled. I will have capabilities to influence people. I can sell better. I can get people to like me better. But when I went there, I saw people transform their lives. So, one of the very unique cases I saw was someone who was given 3 months to live by her doctor. It was an autoimmune condition.
Okay.
She came for the program. I didn't know at that time that she was given very little time to live. She was one of the participants with us, happy, laughing. And post that program, I came to know that she was able to live for 3 more years after that. And not
Wow.
just 3 more years, but something in her changed in the way she approached this condition that she was already going through. Post that, she was able to impact at least 1,000 people. Now, when I saw that happen, 3 years later, I came back to the program because I came back not as a trainer, I came back as a mother with 2 children, 2 years apart. And I was facing a few concerns of my own. I was facing a few emotions, deep emotions, and I thought I need to go back to these people because they're not only healing lives, they're not only changing, mindsets, but there were different people of different categories. So there were people who were progressing in their careers, getting multiple promotions within those 2 to 3 years. There were people who were changing their careers. There were people who were changing their personalities. Right now, as adults, we all know that we think that we have a certain personality,
Right.
and I cannot be extrovert. Or if I'm extrovert, how do I get more capabilities to become more influential? People don't think on those lines at times until a situation arises. So people think that growth is very linear. So an executive thinks, okay, I'm an executive, then I need to be a manager, then I need to be a senior manager, then I need to be a director, and then a CEO. But at times what they miss out is what are some of the other capabilities that they can also build. So when I went to the program and I saw there were people building multi-layered skills. So if you had a HR specialist, that HR specialist was also able to build sales capabilities, leadership capabilities, which was not even in their thought.
There is one saying I recently heard from somebody, maybe on some social media page I have seen. If you will give yourself a particular limitations, whether it's a time or anything, suppose if you have a task to do and that task is big enough where you can spend even a year, it is basically like it is about you only, because you can finish. Because see, whatever we study in the class, teacher takes a year to complete.
Correct.
Right? But when exam comes, we finish within 3 to 4 days. So my point is, the same process as you are saying, we can do so many things, but we had put us in a boundary or in a box where we don't want to come out. It is called like we are in the safe zone of us, the comfort zone, where we just are walking on the step which has been shown to us. But we can go left, right, maybe straight to find out so many more things, right? So I would request you all, please listen this conversation very carefully, because she will be explaining you, and I hope it will might change even a bit of your life. That will be great help for us as well. So yes.
So Sadhna, as you said, right, students will have an entire year to study everything that they have, yet many of them will only study in that last 1 month or that last 2 weeks, and crunch and pressure time situation. And it's so funny because in those, that small period of time, they're able to compress all that knowledge
Right.
somehow, and they're still able to score well. They may not be able to score as well as they could have had they studied the entire year, right? So now the difference here is the state.
I was one of these
Right.
kind of kids.
So was I, right? I didn't even know that was an option, because I always asked myself, I'm like, Maher, why are you not able to study for all this time that is free, right? If I had 9 days for an exam, I would only begin studying like when 4 days were left. And it made me feel guilty. It made me feel bad about myself. It gave me some sort of, unuseful talk.
And sometimes what happens, the thought inside us, when we are not working according to the way we have to, we feel guilty in self,
Yes.
right?
So the challenge here is that there is a particular state that only sometimes comes for people when there is a certain amount of pressure that is put on them, right? Now, my question is, why, if we do not wait for that pressure, why can't we replicate that same state of urgency, that same state of peak performance, of focus, and utilize that beforehand? And then you have a whole lot of free time wherein you can do so many other things that could be resourceful.
Right.
I think in terms of time management, this is where a lot of people get it wrong, right? Because they do not realize that a lot of their time is spent planning, structuring, worrying about the goals that they have to achieve.
They are wasting their time to think about that, right?
Well, they're not wasting their time. Ecologically, there is a useful intention to worry, right? When there is something important, people worry, right? If someone has a big decision like marriage and they are thinking, should I marry this person? Should I not marry this person? But at the back of their mind, they don't realize that all they have to do is probably ask certain questions to their partner, probably have certain clarifications, probably have some very, very difficult conversations. But now, because they do not know how to have those difficult conversations, their mind is making up other excuses to complete the task or to find how to resolve that solution. So then they will either seek counsel of others, or they may take their own observations about the relationship and make the decision. Same thing happens at work, right? Some people feel, I'm working so hard, my boss is not noticing. I'm working so hard, nobody's noticing. But what they don't realize is sometimes they need to speak up. Sometimes they need to be able to put into frame that, is what I'm doing even logical? Is what I'm doing even impactful to the organization, right? And having those conversations, having those expectations set right with the people that they need to have the conversation with.
Again, that topic has come, that conversation and asking question is very important, because till the time you will not ask, you will not get the answer. So please ask questions from everybody around you, and don't feel hesitant that you don't have to ask this question, because question will only solve the purpose. And as she said, before we will not ask, we have to ask, like before taking something on our head that maybe not, I should do, I should not. Better to ask, right? Ask and relieve your mind.
So this again comes from a very unuseful frame of mind, because again, if you chunk that down further, it comes from a space of what will people think of me?
Exactly.
Right? What if I make a fool of myself?
It is very easy when people say, no, leave, that is their business. Even I say, let them do their business, that is their business. Let our focus on our business. It is very difficult actually to follow for everybody.
Absolutely. I think, and the saddest part is when it happens in families.
Exactly.
And when children learn how not to ask, right? I was asked a very, I think there was a meeting with with our mentors a few months ago, and my mentors asked a question to the entire group. They asked a question that, if you had to do one installation, one core capability for this entire world, right? What is that one capability that you would like to install? And I kept on thinking about this question, and I finally realized that one of the very, very innate capabilities I think that the world needs right now is nurture.
Nurture, yeah.
Because I think this whole aspect of children should learn by themselves, people need to catch up by themselves. I think somewhere the nurture is lost. Because there is so much of wisdom that geniuses have. There is so much of wisdom that our elders have. There are so much of genius that people who create wonderful things have. Yet, when that knowledge or when that attitude is not nurtured, it's not going to be passed on.
Right.
At the same time, it also needs to be absorbed by the people around. So people need to be able to have that state of not removing but disassociating all their unuseful emotions, and then being able to connect with people who are really, really good in the work that they do.
See, sometimes we have these kind of people where we think in the house as well, what he will think of me. Maybe my partner, maybe my mother-in-law, maybe my own father. So in that kind of situation, what your advice to people that they should actually, because they are the family members in the same house under the same roof.
Correct.
So what is your advice to these kind of people, like where they can actually feel better while having this thought in their heads, and how to remove actually that thought?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, and I think so many people need to understand this. That especially in the Indian society, we follow a hierarchy.
Right.
We follow, okay, there's a grandfather, there's a father, there's a child. Some generations even have like a great grandchild or a great grandfather. And what was expected was that the older generation is respected, the older generation knows everything. Yet the current stage that we are at, there is so much of information that is brand new. And with changing dynamics, I think one of the core capabilities that families need is to be able to have layered relationships. So when I say layered relationships, what I mean is that a child can learn from the father or the mother. At the same time, the parents can also learn from their children, right? So I know another very, very, very unique mother-daughter duo.
Okay.
Again, from my journey of NLP, where the mother was, she was trying to restart her career. She was doing a whole lot of things. She came to the program, then she dragged her daughter along, right? She dragged first her daughter along, and her daughter was like, "Ma, I don't want to do this. What are you doing?" And they used to have disagreements of some sort. This was about 10 to 12 years back. Today, both of them are successfully running a business of transformation for people
Together.
together.
Wow.
And the interesting thing is that they both complement each other. So while the daughter is taking care of a lot of things, she is the main driver of her transformation business. Her mother is also a very, very key backbone to that program, right? In fact, the entire family comes there, and I think when I see like a live example of the entire family just transforming themselves, it's beautiful, because that shows evidence that the youngsters can learn from the elders. They can take their advice with the right filters in mind, but at the same time, the youngsters are also very often able to guide their elders.
See, nowadays, what is the thought of our Asian mentality is, a kid maybe, see, as they are in the new stage of life now, it is totally different where we used to be right before.
Correct.
Right? So there are things which they know better than us, and there are things which we can teach them. So vice versa, if we will not put them down, and we will be also having courage to understand their point, and getting some knowledge from them, so it will, I think, show them a way how to learn, how to accept things if somebody is teaching you. So because for the kids, I have always seen, before you will not listen to them, they will not listen to you.
You're correct, Sadhna.
So in this situation, this is what I think. I don't know what is your advice.
So very
please
rightly
guide through.
said. So every generation has a different attitude in terms of how they want to parent the child, how they want to nurture the child. Yes, there is a lot of freedom that the kids currently have. Yet what is missing is this ability to have leadership at home.
Right.
Leadership at home doesn't mean authority, doesn't mean controlling people, doesn't mean my way or the highway. But leadership at home means you're driving the family. You're driving everybody's needs, at the same time understanding how are they evolving as individuals? How are they evolving as human beings, right? It's very easy to say, oh, I want my child to grow the way they are.
It is not
They
happening.
will learn their way. They will stumble. They will have their challenges. It's okay. But when you have the privilege of knowledge, when you have the privilege of a safe home, when you have the privilege of paying for good education, right? Why wouldn't you have the privilege of love? Why wouldn't you have the privilege of just having fun with your family, right? I see so many families not having fun,
There are
right?
kids now, these Gen Zs and teens especially. I have heard this conversation from my daughter saying to her friend, now we are teens, we can do whatever we want. But at the same point of time, when it comes to the house, of course, there is somebody elder than you have to ask. But what they say, no, we are teens, we can do anything. And they are thinking that they are 70, 80 years old person that who is saying and, putting their things in front of us.
But isn't that how we were?
We were same, but
Correct.
that time I think the parents were having little more bonding with their kids instead of today, because today's generation and the parents like us, we are running behind money, we are leaving those things. Because I asked this question in one of my last podcast: money that we are earning today for their goodwill, or we are spoiling our own kids?
Yeah. So also, Sadhna, I want you to look at it this way: is that in the current scenario, money is necessary.
It
Right?
is.
It is something that is a driver.
Right.
It is something that enables you to have good experiences, quality experiences in life. So I wouldn't really blame a lot of parents who want to earn money, security, because they may have seen really hard times. They may have seen bad debts. They may have seen their parents take really bad decisions with money. So it's understandable that people want to earn money. There's nothing wrong with that thought. Yet, being able to understand how to divide the time,
Right.
or even if they have, let's say, 2 hours at home, how do they fully utilize that 2 hours to have that conversation with their children, understand their children, get to know what's happening with them, and also provide that sense of security for the children so that they know that, yeah, I know my parent is working, I know my mother or my father is working really hard, and they're doing so that we have a good education, we have a great start to life. And but at the same time, they know that they can come to you for anything.
It seems like I have one thought in my head which I want to share. It is basically okay. I can give you time when I have time, okay. And if I'm working somewhere, I might have not that time. And what time I have after that, maybe I want some relaxation. Maybe I want to spend my time with myself. I have that thought in my head where, people are not satisfied with what they have in their hand. Like the time, maybe they have 30 minutes. They can speak for 10 minutes to their kids and 20 minutes they can relax. But they are not able to gauge themselves or make some kind of timetable
Exactly.
where, they can spend this with them. So what you will say about it?
So that's exactly where I come in, right? So we all operate with certain emotions. We all operate with the state,
Right.
Now imagine a parent coming home. They may be tired, they may be stressed. There's so much of exhaustion that they're feeling. Yet in that moment, when the child comes up to them, if they have the state choice to not get impacted by that exhaustion, right? Now it's a very physiological, emotional, neurological trigger, right? Now, let's say that in that moment, something in them just allows that switch to diffuse where they do not get angry, where they do not get frustrated, where they do not lose that state, and they're able to shift the state ecologically.
No,
And
the statement you have said, it is very correct. But everybody cannot close that switch, or do it.
exactly.
So what kind of tips you can give here, so that at least, because see, we say office ka kaam office mein, and you spend your house hours in the house and forget about office. But the office is a place where we are eating, right? They are giving us money to earn bread and butter. So how easy or you can make it, how easy you can make it where people can switch that office brain off at home, and can spend little nice time, whatsoever time they have at home, with a good and positive vibes in the house.
That's exactly. So when people have a lot of stress, when people feel a lot of heavy emotions, or they have a lot of thoughts going on in their mind, I help them to switch those thoughts off automatically. When I say automatically, which means that they have that ability, I help them build that capability wherein they are no longer bringing all those stressors from work back to home. But at the same time, what I'm also doing is taking care of all the things that are making them feel stressful at work, right? Let's say someone is afraid of their boss, or someone cannot deal with toxic people,
I cannot.
right? Now, when you say toxic, it can be so many people who can lie, people who may be delaying work,
There are
people
so
who may
many
be making
variation of
excuses.
toxic people.
Exactly. Everyone has their own. But the
Right.
reason why I said toxic is because that is the word people use
Yeah.
when they want to describe something that is unhealthy at
Nowadays,
workplace.
we are using those big words where we should not use.
Exactly.
Means toxic is basically food. Or maybe toxic relationships are really worst.
You're very right. You're very
Yeah.
right. So when we talk in terms of NLP, our words also matter.
Yeah.
Right. So when you say a word like toxic, what they're associating with the word toxic is probably evil, poisonous,
Yeah.
and they don't realize that subconsciously they're developing a dislike to those people.
Oh, okay.
Now, when they're subconsciously developing that dislike, it's not as if that dislike will not be shown somewhere in their face.
It will grow.
Somewhere in their body language, right? Now, that increases the gap of communication between the people. Now, let's say a person is the way they are. Like a person is maybe a drama queen, or a person is, angry, or a person is of a
Mostly women, for women we say no, talk behind your backs.
Oh, not just women,
Yeah.
I would say.
It's now the men's are also there.
So let's say whatever behavior that they're doing, which is not great,
Great, not acceptable to
not
the society.
acceptable, they're doing what they're doing, but you are not getting affected by it, right? Where your mind is not going into the loop of, oh my God, why is the person like this? Or, oh my God, why am I feeling angry in my throat when I see this person? Or why is my head hurting when I listen to this person, right? But at the same time, it's developing the capabilities to set the right boundaries. Now, when you set the right boundaries, automatically it clears away all that clutter. It clears away all the challenges that you face with people. So when you don't have that baggage in your mind, it's very easy to go and get the work done with the person.
Right.
Because you're speaking straightforward, you're not getting caught up into any kind of emotional game. But at the same time, you're setting the expectation with them. You're having the conversation. You're either delegating the task to them, or you are asking them for help, or you're telling them, okay, we're in a team. We need to get this sorted. Confront the situation, sort it out, and then get back to your work.
It basically impacts the work as well.
Of
if
course,
we
it gives you
feel
so
negative thought
much-
about somebody and keep thinking that, because that will keep poking your brain. Whether you're working, you're not working, you're at home. Still, I have to work with him or work with her.
Exactly.
And that, I think, increases the more poison
So
in the
Sadhna,
brain.
just imagine if all the people in Dubai had this capability of not feeling annoyed with the people they're working with, because we can't choose who
I
we
wish
work
this
with.
world would be like
And
this.
we are fine, right? Like imagine having this safety bubble around you. Imagine having this beautiful filter in front of you, like a it's like a life jacket,
Right.
which just repels all the unwanted stuff.
Right.
But it allows you to learn so much more from them, right?
Right.
Now, imagine someone who's really good with their job, right? They're getting an amazing sales, they're driving their numbers, they're getting amazing business, but for some reason you don't like them, right? Now, wouldn't it be such a waste to not learn from them?
Yeah,
Right?
it is waste
Someone
if you're not
who's-
learning something.
Absolutely.
Because that person is having so many capabilities. Why to miss on? What I think is, you can learn from a child if you wish to.
Of course. Of course.
That wish is not there, because there, the arrogance comes in between. Take the part.
Yeah.
I am elder, I am male, I am this, I am that. So
Yeah.
who we are just a human. I always say, be human,
There's
please.
so many instances that I can remember right now. Like I remember when my daughter was about 3 or 4, and she was playing around with some bottle, and my husband was getting angry, and he's like, no, come here right now. And he's like, I'm counting till 3. You need to come here right now. And she's just dancing with the bottle, and how kids are, and he's like, I'm saying 1, I'm saying 2, like very stern, and then he was about to lift his finger, and then the younger one just goes like 3. She goes 3. And that broke his state, right? Like we all started laughing because
Yeah.
now just imagine here's this father who was like, I want to discipline my child, right? Like I have to set rules for her since she's 3 years old. And then this child comes and very innocently comes up and does something mischievous, and it breaks that state, right?
Right.
And we all need these, sometimes we need a pattern interrupt internally to snap out of something that may be very, very unuseful. Right? You see, some people are fighting, they're arguing loudly, and then somebody will come and say, hey, oh my God, look outside, there's a plane, or hey, they'll create some distraction of some sort. Now, why do they do that? Right? They
So
know
that
that
they can distract
if I jump
yeah,
into that argument,
they will
I'm
come
going
on
to
my
be
head.
eaten. Right? And they provide a very useful distraction. Now, imagine if we can interrupt our own patterns in that way. Right?
Means the distraction is sometimes very important.
The right distraction.
Yeah.
I won't say the word distraction, but I call it a state shift. I call it a break state, right? So many a times, when people feel really upset, they start dancing, or they may listen to really good music. Sometimes people they go and exercise, right? They break state, right? And I know some people that when they get really, really upset with anything, they just start doing their work.
Right.
And I find that so fascinating that a person who's really upset about something, right? And then ideally, someone may not have this frame of mind to work.
Seriously.
But they just open the laptop, tuck, 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 and they're finishing their work on super high speed, right? What that person is doing is using something very, very useful to take care of the unuseful emotion. Right? But let's say that the person doesn't feel that anger in the first place. How wonderful would that be, where you're not constantly in the state of trigger? I see a lot of people nowadays where they may have a particular experience with someone. Let's say somebody is untrustworthy, and then when they go out and meet other people, they're with this
Same
binoculars. Is somebody else going to
Again
cheat
hurt
me?
me,
Is somebody else going
yeah,
to
and this
fool
thought
me?
actually,
Right?
no, it's not about the people. Even I think the same thing, because see, there was an incident happened with one of my friends group, and since that time till I think 6 months before, I was in a frame where when I'm meeting anybody new, they're all here to cheat me.
Yeah, and don't you see what a challenge that is? It's a waste of time.
irritating.
It's not serving you any purpose.
It's irritating. It is stopping you to grow. It is very disheartening when you are thinking this way about those people who are actually not on the same train, and it is really somewhere time wasting as well, because then your thought is there and your productive time is not going to the place where it should be.
Correct. So Sadhna, this is where I help people with, right?
Okay.
First and foremost, I help them set the frames and help them get distance from whatever negative experience they've had, so that the patterns that were existing at that time do not come in their current context, or they do not get repeated in their future contexts.
So as whatever conversation we had till now, it is basically only for that, so that you can relate to it. Now we will come on the topic. Yeah. So now you were saying something.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as I said, that once your baggage is cleared,
Yeah.
right, you do not operate in the same way that you were
Right.
operating before. You have more state choice. You have more freedom of reacting in a more useful manner, right? So I see some people when there's a confrontation, they don't get afraid, they don't get offended. They come to the point and they have a very, very useful conversation about the disagreement. They do not blame. They do not get to a state where the conversation is going round in circles. But they're able to have a conversation and clear the conflict and set the frame. Once that happens, the relationship that they had with the person they had the conflict with becomes even closer.
Yeah.
Because they have resolved the conflict in the right manner. Now, I'm seeing this when this happens with a husband and wife, let's say, right? How wonderful would that be, right?
Right.
How great would it be at work? How great would it be with a parent and a child? Wherein you're resolving this conflict.
Nowadays, there are these kind of issues are happening very frequently means a child is not happy with their parents, the husband, and every second family I'm seeing that there is some argument is happening. What you will say about it? Like, why the world is becoming into that state where everybody is irritated with everyone? So it is that the mind is not on the proper frame, or maybe their thoughts are different, or how you can change this kind of pattern. Because if we will be able to work on this, might be we cannot solve everybody's problem, but yes, still if we can do one or two families good enough, like we can help them. So what you can talk about this statement actually, because this is really in right now, and we are actually focusing on the thing which is okay, we can talk about business later, but yes, when the family is settled, I think everything goes well. So yeah.
Patterns are not the same for each person.
Right.
Every person, every couple, every workplace professional has a different pattern of thinking, feeling, behaving.
Right.
Right. How do we resolve those disagreements? Now, individually, when I speak to couples, when I identify what is happening with the person currently, what is the missing capability that the wife has, what is the missing capability that the husband have, right? Sometimes it is about one of the partners is not able to communicate their needs. Sometimes one of the partners is not able to overcome certain things that may have happened in the past, or maybe they need certain capabilities, maybe they're not happy with their work, right? There could be a number of reasons that is stopping them from communicating with each other. So when I have a conversation one-to-one with people and I identify what is stopping them from communicating with their partner, then I work on that limitation using these neuro-linguistic programming techniques.
And suppose if, see, as we say the counselor word, people
Correct.
gets very much offended that counselor, their third brain starts working. Like, because before, at like I think 20 years before, we used to use the counselor word only for those people who's having so many issues in the brain, right? Now there are different kind of counselors, right? Maybe somebody is for relationship, then the family, then there are so many type of counselors. Even in the school now we have counselors, like which subject a child should choose, there is a counselor for that. So can you please break this statement of counselor so that people will actually understand the value of somebody is guiding them? See, everybody is here for money, because if we will not earn, we will not be able to have anything in the life. Even we cannot feed our kids. But if that spend you are doing today giving you benefit or not, that we have to see into, right? So can you please explain me, like, can you break the word counselor here, like how we can describe this?
So when you talk in terms of psychology,
Right.
a counselor is someone who is qualified to listen to you, understand what's going on with you, and then give you solutions to resolve that problem, right? This has been the traditional way. It has been working for years. Yet we see a lot of people use it as a dumping your baggage kind of a session, right? So when a client comes to a counselor and they feel that, okay, I've spoken about my situation and I feel good, but feel good in that moment. If the counselor is not able to provide them the right solutions, right, then the challenge is that the person will continue to keep coming to the counselor for years on end, because that becomes a crutch for them. It's like, I need a facial, my skin is dull, I go to a parlor, I get like a glow up, I come back. Few days later, I need to have a glow up again, right? So counseling is not something a person needs to do over 5 years, 10 years, 15, not even over 2 years, right? Because that doesn't serve the purpose of counseling. A person should go to a counselor, get advice, go through the required number of sessions, work on themselves, right? And then get back to their normal lives.
Okay.
Right? The difference that I work with is I work directly on the pattern. So counseling is not part of what I do, but what I do is in terms of understanding what is going on with the person, figuring out the right limitation for them, what is actually coming in the way of them making a step forward, correcting that pattern where they no longer feel the way they were feeling in that situation before.
So counselors are not like doctors. It is basically to guide you through.
So
right?
counselors,
Yeah.
so qualified counselors are psychologists who've undergone the psychological certification. They've gone through the right, credentials. Yet we see a lot of counselors in our day-to-day life, right? We see our parents, we see teachers, we see our mentors, we see elderly people in our in our society who become counselors, right? So the challenge is when counseling has become freehold, right? You go to Facebook, someone vents out on Facebook on a women's support group, and then you have 100 women responding to that query,
Right.
some kind, some unkind, some very useful comments, but some which will support the person's challenge. So if a person says, I'm having a challenge with my mother-in-law, I'm having a challenge with my sister-in-law, I'm having a challenge with my friend, and then the 100 comments that they get will be 100 comments based on what those 100 women have individually faced. How is it relevant to that person? Now imagine if that person gets influenced unusefully, right? I've seen so many cases where a wife will talk about some argument she had with her in-laws or her family, and then you have all these women saying, oh, get out of the marriage, dump him. But is that ecological for that woman? Does she have the financial resources? Does she have the backing? Does she have society? What is going to happen to her if she takes the advice of random people? Okay, and I think I say this with a lot of respect, because I know the people who are commenting on those posts mean really well.
Right.
They feel a certain emotion when they read the post, right? Someone who may call themselves a feminist may have a very, very different approach from someone who's probably going through the same thing that the person who has posted, right? They will have very different opinions about the same situation. Now, how is it ecological to that person? We do not know.
Right.
Does she just need capabilities to have conversations with her
Because we
husband?
need one side of story.
Yes. Does she need capabilities to go out and earn? Does she need capabilities to maybe accept her own challenges that she has, right? We do not know from like a 200-word post,
Right.
right? And I think that's where the challenge is, because sometimes people feel that emotions hai. Why do I need a professional's help? These are my emotions, right? But sometimes they do not know the state that they are operating from.
What I think is, instead of getting to the deathbed, asking for help is important.
Yeah, like deathbed is like really.
It is basically a deathbed only, when everything is, you completely broke with everybody.
Yeah,
You're not working properly, you're not doing. So they are feeling dead inside.
So let's not call them dead, right? Like when you say dead, like that's such a heavy word to use. But let's say that they have lost direction.
Lost direction,
Right?
yeah.
Because they cannot see what can come next.
Right.
They are constantly focused on what has happened already.
I have heard this statement from
Imagine
somebody.
someone, I remember when Titanic released, and people would go watch it in the theater like 10 times, and they would cry even more on the 10th time. And I couldn't understand, right? Okay, you've seen the ending, it's a sad ending the first time, you cried the second time, now imagine they're watching it the 10th time, but they are deepening that emotion even more. Right? So the point of talking out and sharing with our friends or venting is not intended to be a state wherein this emotion gets stacked multiple fold. The impact may have been this much when you felt it, but over years the person is feeling like a massive impact. Now that is very, very dangerous, because that can get people to a state that does not allow them to progress further. Now imagine if they are able to let it go, right? If I ask you right now, do you remember your best friend in KG or nursery?
Yes.
Okay,
I do remember.
Or do you remember like 5 other people that you did not speak to in your KG?
No, never.
You do not, right?
No.
You may have vague memories of, oh, this name starts with a A or a B or a N. But you may not remember their face. It's so irrelevant now.
I meet people and I forget usually their names.
That's okay. That's
Because
okay.
see, if somebody is relevant to me and serving me, and I am having friends or something with that person, so I will remember that.
Yes. So,
But other than that, if it is not working for me,
so
then
Sadhana,
it's
the
fine.
point is that when we think of something that has happened so many years ago, it's not even remotely close to us, right? But when things happen now, it may be fresh, right? But how do we move over from
Right.
it, right?
So just tell me one thing from the basics. If a person is not happy with which kind of statements and which kind of patterns and which kind of situations when they should reach out to you.
Can you rephrase that?
Yes, I can say that. When is the exact situation a person is required to have a session from you, in the sense when should they seek for help when something is not happening? Means everybody is having so many things in their life. But when they should feel that now it is too much and I seek for help, that is exact what that situation should be. Some kind of brain points if you can share, so that people can, feel if they need help, they can reach out, not to you also, maybe somebody related to you or something or whatsoever.
So people can reach out to me for multiple things.
Okay.
One is if they really, really cannot cope up with things that are happening in their life, right?
Right.
They cannot sleep. They are feeling a certain way.
Okay, you help to sleep as well, like help to
Yes.
sleeping patterns also.
Yes. So there is a part of physiological changes also that I
Okay.
can help people with. So there are a number of allergies that I've helped people cure. I've helped some of my own close family members, overcome certain allergies and stuff that they had. I know people personally who have even helped people come out of coma using some of these NLP patterns. I personally haven't worked with anyone in coma, but I know some of my friends who have actually helped with cancer remissions. They've helped with people
Okay,
conceive.
this works for cancer patients as well.
So when we say cancer patients, it's you have to look at any condition in the body that could have been caused due to stress or due to
And I think
heavy
I have
emotions.
lately heard this the statement, the more we think about something, it spoils the thing, whether it's any kind of problem or disease.
So Sadhana, we have a integration of our neurology, of our physiology, our physical body,
Right.
of our emotions, right? Whenever we feel certain emotions, there are certain chemicals that are secreted in the body. When we are happy, we have amazing feelings, right? We feel good, we feel our cheeks are swelling, we feel calm in our body, right? When there is stress, some people experience gut issues, like they feel pain in the stomach or they feel pain in the head. They
Like
may
the
have-
exam, the stomach pain before the exam.
Correct.
Right?
And
Yeah.
and that is a very useful way of your body saying that, hey, there is risk or there is danger, right? But obviously the body doesn't know that this is an exam. It's not going to eat you up, right?
Right.
Right? If you're in front of a lion and you get the same feeling, it is very, very
Very.
apt, right? Because that is danger. So our body reacts to any kind of threat that we may not physically or consciously perceive, right? Have you ever gone to a place and felt like this is something wrong? The place may be amazing, it's a beautiful
But
location.
you're not okay feeling inside.
But as you get closer, something in you tells you something is not right. Now, that is your unconscious identifying what may already not be right. So, even when you're sleeping in the night, I know people who live on, next to a highway, and they're so used to heavy
Sounds.
truck noise and they're able to sleep very, very, very peacefully. But at the same time, if there is even a spoon that falls in their kitchen, the unconscious will wake you up. This is not a normal sound. The sound may be even softer than the noise outside, but your unconscious recognizes that, hey, you need to be alert. Something's going on. Why don't you go and check what's happening, right? That is how the unconscious wakes you up, right? It's like it's very difficult to explain sometimes, but when we sleep, you're breathing, your organs are working, right? Your body knows when to wake you up. Sometimes you don't even set the alarm, there's something important, and your eyes will open exactly at 5 or 6
Yeah,
o'clock.
it happens.
And you're
Yeah.
like, how did this happen? This doesn't happen on normal days, right? Because you've set an intention, you've set an agreement with your unconscious that, hey, you know what, I have to wake up at 5 o'clock.
It means you have to teach your brain,
So
or
you
maybe
don't
your
have
brain.
to, yeah, so you don't have to teach your brain as in memorize like 100 things a day.
Then
But what you need to do is be able to find those internal techniques. So I would love if everyone has that capability to speak to their own unconscious and set things right, right? But this is not like a counselor, like for everything, like, hey, should I eat ice cream today? Unconscious, tell me, should I? No,
it is
that's
basically things which we are not happy with in life and which are critical,
so
like related
so
to business, jobs, relationships, or maybe our own self, our good health, or maybe the sleeping patterns, as you said, or maybe there are things which can make us feel negative sometime. So I think that is the exact time where they should reach out to you to seek for help, right?
yes, they can seek out help when they feel that they are not achieving optimally in their careers or in their personal lives, or they're facing a particular challenge, or they feel directionless, right? If I think the biggest challenge is when people don't have direction, then they end up doing 100 things that may be unuseful.
Right.
My friend is doing crypto, let me do crypto. My friend is doing a business, let me do
Means
business.
the comparison which we are doing with every second person, we should stop that and we should check out our own capabilities and what
Yes.
we can do and what we can do the best.
Yes, but yet, Sadhana, when you say comparison, people may still unconsciously compare, and that may be a very innate quality, and they cannot control that, right? This is where I help them be able to create those filters internally. How does their unconscious stop comparing or measuring the success that other people have, right? And then focus on what are their own capabilities, right? People also take decisions in very, very unuseful states. Now, one of my favorite, cases that I worked on, this was pre-COVID, and a father reached out to me. He said, my daughter is, he heard me speaking in one of the Toastmasters Club, or I think somewhere he heard me speak, and he said that my daughter, she's getting her medical examination. She's trying to get cleared from the NEET examinations. She's failed once. She wants to attempt it the second time. However, she's feeling very sad. She's not talking to us. She's being very, very upset. And I took about 3 or 4 sessions with this girl. Now, what I realized is that this girl was almost okay to make a compromise and shift out of the medical field and take up something like architecture or interior designing. And her family said, we are fine with whatever she decides, right? And it's a very useful thing, right?
Right.
You see anyone in trouble, you want your family member to do whatever is
help.
ecological. And I asked her, and she said, yeah, I don't want to put my parents through struggle. Now her parents were willing to pay extra. They were willing to do whatever it is that is required to get her through to the medical. So they were okay with it. They did not put any pressure on her, but the girl took on that pressure on herself.
Because that is a mentality we have, right?
She took the guilt on, she took the fear on, she took the state of, I don't like the conditions of
This
the
is what I am
hostel.
interrupting you here again. This is what we think and impact, that goes to our kids as well and to the society as well, right?
So she's not wrong when she says that I don't want my family to waste a lot of money. I don't want my family. But I did a very unique thing with her. I made her, walk 2 timelines. One timeline in the future where she took up some alternate career, and one timeline with the medical, like a 10-year timeline. So when she went to the 10-year timeline and she came back, and then we also did another session wherein during that session she realized, oh my God, I know why I wanted to do medical is because of my grandmother, and some conversation she had with her grandmother, and she realized why it was so important to her, right? Now my only question here is that had she been okay making that choice, but 10 years down the line she remembered the conversation she had with her grandmother, it would have been too late for her to start living her dream. she would have probably regretted, maybe every day or through her life, that why didn't I become a doctor? Because it was so meaningful to her.
Right.
Right? So I was with her for about 3 or 4 sessions, and I think it was fascinating because I love working with, youngsters who are about to take that
Right.
leap. And when she was able to take that decision, she felt so happy. Like within the first session, her father called me up and said, "What did you do? Like, my daughter is happy. She's laughing in the house. She looks so much cheerful. She's talking to everybody." And I didn't work on that. I worked on her medical, her decision making, right?
Right.
So when that decision became clear to her, she was able to go back to Kerala, spend those 2 months in the hostel, which she found she didn't like the conditions of the place, but she was able to go through that. And then 6 months later, she was able to secure that medical seat in her favorite college.
Wow.
And that for me was so heartwarming, because here's a girl who could have chosen an easy career in Dubai. She could have done interior decorator, and I'm sure with her capabilities she would have done really well with whatever she did. But that one regret would have stayed with her for life.
Instead of regretting throughout your life, I think it's better to see and seek
Yes.
the help.
So when you have the right intervention, that can give you clarity.
Right.
For some people, the clarity comes maybe at the start of the career. For some people, it may come mid-career. For some people, it may even happen when they are later
So why
stage
to
of their
go
career.
so late where you are helpless, and
Yes,
so why we can't do it before?
correct. Yet the purpose is to not feel regretful of your 30, 40 years of life, 50 years of life, right? Like I remember this person who was 70 years old who came to this program. So I am part of this program still. Like over 10 years, I still go visit them. I still train under them. So this man who was 70 years old, very, very upset, hasn't spoken to his brother in 40 years, very angry. 6 days after the program, reconnects with his brother
Wow.
after 40 years,
My God.
releasing every bit of conflict or anger that he had within him.
It seems like you are doing some magic on the people, right?
So the effects feel like magic.
Magic, huh?
Like I like now we even work with people for about a day and we can make a transformation. Like I know a girl who got rid of 3 years of guilt because she felt she wasn't doing justice to her family business, and she was guilty, but she didn't realize she had the capability to have turnover in crores for her family. And when she got over that guilt, she was able to have those conversations with her family members, set expectations, be more part of the business, and just be happy, right? So imagine that
Wonderful.
integration.
The stories we have heard today, and it is lovely to have conversation with you. Last message you want to give to our people out there, you see in the camera, and say, even to the elderly people, or maybe the age of we are in right now, or maybe the new generation. One last message.
So as my mentors always say, who you are is not written on in stone, right? You have the capability within you to shift out of any unuseful behavior pattern. And the only thing is that when you come to that other side and you see how wonderful life is, how easy things become, it's just a wonderful experience, because you get to that state, have peak performance, and just drive your capabilities, build on your talents.
Guys, after conversation with Meher, I'm really happy, and I think I should go and seek help right now because there are thoughts which, actually comes in my head always. Everybody is not perfect. So the negative thoughts which I actually want to remove from my brain, I will come to you and will ask you for the help. Guys, I would request you all, if you have any negative thoughts in your head, or maybe you are lacking somewhere, please reach out to us. We will help you and we will give you the guidance. And she is here with us, Meher. She will help you throughout, and might be the things which you are just thinking you will achieve one day. So stay tuned. Love you all. This is Sadhna, and this is my channel, The Attitude of Gratitude.